Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever just casually popped a pill for a headache, you've actually benefited from one of the most rigorous, heavily regulated scientific pathways on the planet. Today, we're unpacking the exact step-by-step journey of drug development and clinical trials.
We've got a lot to cover, so here's our agenda. We'll start by defining clinical trials, then we'll look at the strict prerequisites for human testing, dive into the preclinical evaluation details, and finally, compare all the review phases together.
All right, Section 1, defining clinical trials. Let's get right into the what and the why of this whole process.
So what are they? Clinical trials aren't just, random experiments. They are incredibly systematic investigations involving human subjects. And the whole game here comes down to two absolute non-negotiables: safety and efficacy. Does this health intervention actually work, and is it safe for humans? If a new drug can't definitively answer yes to both of those questions, well, it goes absolutely nowhere.
Moving right along to Section 2, prerequisites for human testing.
Because you can't just invent a cool new chemical and hand it to a patient. There are some serious gatekeepers in place. Before human trials are even allowed to begin, scientists have to gather satisfactory data on non-clinical toxicity, basically proving it isn't overtly toxic before it ever gets near a human being. On top of that, official health committees in that specific country have to review the data and grant their explicit approval. The ultimate goal, of course, is bringing safe new drugs to the market. But those safety gates, they stay firmly locked until these specific conditions are met.
Next up is Section 3, preclinical evaluation details. Let's zoom in on what happens in the lab before those gates unlock.
Extensive preclinical testing is always step one. We're talking rigorous experiments conducted in animals and human cells. If, and literally only if those succeed, the drug sponsor compiles all that data and hands it over to the FDA. They use this data to officially request an investigational new drug, or IND approval. That's the golden ticket they need to finally begin testing in humans.
And guys, the sheer depth of these animal studies is staggering. They aren't just checking for basic survival. They meticulously evaluate incredibly complex systems. They conduct pharmacodynamics, or PD studies, both in vivo and in vitro, to see exactly what the drug does to the body. Then they look at ADME, also known as pharmacokinetics, or PK, which tracks how the body absorbs, distributes, metabolizes, and excretes the chemical. They build a massive toxicity profile, looking at acute, subacute, and chronic effects. And finally, they map out a therapeutic index, weighing that delicate initial balance between safety and efficacy.
Once all those highly specific areas are analyzed, it triggers a massive preclinical data review. We're talking mountains of PK, toxicity, efficacy, and PD data. Scientists have to summarize all of this to actively predict how safe and effective it'll be for human use. This monumental effort all culminates in Step 3, the actual filing of the IND application.
Okay, Section 4, comparing all review phases. We've been deep in the microscopic details, so let's zoom out.
Let's compare all 8 sequential review phases together in one complete life cycle view. Step 1 is that extensive preclinical animal testing we just unpacked, leading right into Step 2, the crucial IND application to get the green light. Once we cross that threshold, we enter human trials. Step 3 is Phase 1 studies, followed by Phase 2 in Step 4 and Phase 3 in Step 5. Notice how each phase gets progressively larger to ruthlessly test safety and efficacy. If a drug survives all that, we hit Step 6, submitting the formal new drug application to the FDA. Step 7 is the FDA review itself, where they determine if it's approvable or not. And even then, the journey doesn't stop. Step 8 involves Phase 4 studies, monitoring the drug once it's actually out there in the wider world.
It is honestly mind-blowing to think about the massive, systematic investigation required for every single medication. Next time you open your medicine cabinet, remember you're looking at the survivors of those 8 grueling steps of scientific rigor, all designed to guarantee our safety and health. Which really makes you wonder what revolutionary, life-saving drug is silently passing through its preclinical phase in a lab somewhere right this very second. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer. If you want to keep decoding the complex systems around us, please like, share, and subscribe our channel. See you next time.